Welcome to the award-winning show, Cool Kids Cook with Kid Chef Eliana. Your host, Eliana, is a 3-time cookbook author and foodie. Listen as Eliana interviews the nation's culinary movers and shakers, explores ingredients from around the world, and shares her tasty recipes. Here's your host, Kid Chef Eliana.
Welcome to the program, Cool Kids Cook. I'm Kid Chef Eliana, a cookbook author, foodie, and your show host. Here's what's happening with me. This past weekend, I went to the movies with my dad and went to eat some ice cream with my cousins. I'll talk all about it in a bit. At Noga, we did some production for a week and then went back to learn more about French food. Tune in for more later. Now, I'm excited to introduce our special guest, food photographer Matthew Noel. Matthew Noel is the owner of Finding Flavors, a culinary media production company. There, he specializes in styling, photographing, and videoing food-related products for advertising and marketing. Matthew is a member of the International Association of Culinary Professionals, IACP, Food Photographers and Stylists Section, and National Association of Photoshop Professionals, NAPP. In 2008, he won the prestigious People's Choice Award from IACP. He is also a member of the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, NAPP, and Professional Photographers of America, PPA. This led to him beta testing the last 2 versions of Adobe Lightroom and 3 versions of Adobe Photoshop. Matthew Noel is a graduate of the John Fulce Culinary Institute at Nicholls State University. He received a Bachelor of Science in Culinary Arts and began his journey with various forms of food media. Through his directing, cinematography, and editing, Nicholls State University recently won gold in the 27th Annual Educational Advertising Awards in Television Advertising /Series for In a Class of Its Own. Along with all of the commercial work, Matthew is also the creative director and photographer for the award-winning Edible New Orleans magazine. Mr. Matthew, thank you so much for being a guest on the show, and welcome to Cool Kids Cook.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Now, I know that you went to culinary school, so what made you decide to become a food photographer, and how does a culinary background help your food photography?
Well, it's kind of funny because I was about halfway through school, and it was a 4-year program over there. And I really didn't even know that there was such a thing as a food photographer. So I went out on a project, and I was working with school, and I found out that there's this other guy. He was taking pictures of food, and he called himself a food photographer. And he was like, I style food as well, and he's a food stylist. And I was like, whoa. I had a little background in photography going through high school and college, but I did not know that even existed. So this was like my ears perked up, and I was like, people style food and make it look awesome. I just had no idea. So about halfway through, they kind of laid some foundation there. People over at Chef John Fulce Culinary Institute, they were really awesome. They gave me, the staff just said, hey, what can we do to help you? What is it that, you need? And they plugged me in over at Boston University. I went over there for this food conference, this International Food Styling and Food Photography Conference. And then from there, became a member of IACP, or the International Association of Culinary Professionals, and met a bunch of great people. And this whole world just opened up that I didn't even know existed. And now, after all that, I am a professional food and beverage photographer, and I get to work with my wife. She's my food stylist now, so it's a pretty cool thing, and it's been a really fun journey. And as far as getting into using my background, I'm able to walk into a restaurant or with a food service professional, and I understand how the kitchen works. I understand the things that they're concerned about. When they want to showcase something in a commercial aspect, I'm able to walk in there and say, hey, I understand these things. I have, back and front of the house training, and I'm able to address those in a way that's a little bit different than just somebody who picked up a camera to start shooting food.
Right.
So that really kind of got me there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's really awesome, that you actually, have training in both aspects, of, in the food and then also in the photography. So that's, really cool that you can come in and, you know what you're taking pictures of. It's not like, oh, I'm going to take pictures of this food, but I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it's really funny because sometimes you'll see people doing test shots and stuff, and, you'll see food photography. It looks really pretty, but then if you have the background in culinary arts, you're like, why in the world are they combining those two foods? It doesn't really make sense. And to really put it in its place and make sure to know that those combinations work really well together, and that there's just, some culinary sense to it as well, is a big part of what we do.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, I mean, that's really great. You've got so much awesome, background, and I've seen your photography skills, and they're so awesome. I love your food pictures. They're so great. I mean, whenever I look at them, I'm just like, oh, my gosh, that looks so good. The pictures are so amazing.
Well, I even had the opportunity to photograph you, which was a trip, when you were getting your award over with the American Culinary Federation, the New Orleans chapter and everything. That was pretty cool to be able to see, and it was a blast to hang out with you, and you guys had some awesome photos there, too, so it was really fun.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, of course, you had to pick the one picture where I was, like, laughing so hard, and, like, I'm, like, cringing at the photo.
Yeah, those were fun. We didn't put it on the poster, but we did. That was one of those fun ones that we took for Facebook and all that stuff, and we threw those out there. That was really fun.
Oh, yeah,
it's fun to see people out, doing other things outside of the culinary end and being able to show their personality. It's a lot of fun.
Totally. Now, I know that you're also the director of photography on a feature-length beverage documentary. So, can you talk more about that?
Yes. Okay, so I did not think as a kid, I grew up watching films and movies and things. I had no idea that I would be in the spot to actually cut a feature-length film, let alone, it's going to be, food-based, beverage-based. And it's really neat because it's based in Peru. So I've taken the time, shot a lot of the primary photography is done down there. We did all the video work down there. And it's, really about the Peruvian people over the last 10 years rising up. And not only is it that they're rising up, but their culture and their, parts of their history and, all of this is their food culture is such a big part of them, and it's who they are. It's kind of like being in South Louisiana. It's an identity to them. And it's exciting to see that not only is it being, shared and revitalized within their country, but it's going bigger than that, and it's going across the world. You see that with a lot of different chefs being able to bring out food from that area and this unique cuisine, and it's really exciting. And it's presented, a whole different ballgame of, challenges and interesting working situation, because Peru is not Kansas. It's crazy. It's got some totally different terrain, and then just a wild plethora of just wonderful food that they pull from, and it's pretty cool to be a part of. And I can't wait to share that with the rest of the world.
I bet. That sounds really exciting. I can't wait till you can share that too, so everyone can see that.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really great to, see the, behind the scenes and all of that of what's actually happening, because, a lot of people, they get the product and they don't know what actually goes into it and all the research and everything. So that's really a really great aspect of that.
That's very true, yeah.
Now, like you said, you recently traveled to Peru, and you actually got to hang out with epic Chef Pedro Miguel Schifano at Malabar. So can you share with our listeners what Peru was like, and maybe tell us about some of the indigenous food you ate there?
Sure. Chef Pedro, for the listeners who may not know, and Malabar, it's up there in Latin cuisine, but not only as far as one of the great restaurants in Latin America, but it's one of the great restaurants in the world. It ends up on top 50, top 100 restaurants in the world. But it was cool because I'd already had a few of the other, traditional foods that had been there, and it was exciting to see, somebody take such careful care, just to be able to work a beautiful traditional dish, but in a high end. It was beautiful. And, it was exciting because it kind of takes you to understand that Peru is just so unique because they have this central area where you've got, Machu Picchu, Cusco, and it's very typical for people to understand, they've got this beautiful city and the Incas, and there's this huge influence there. But then you come into what you usually fly into is Lima, and Lima is this bustling, thriving metropolis. There's all sorts of cool things happening. Their restaurant scene is unbelievable. Their bar scene is unbelievable. They've got, all this really fun, eclectic culture that's coming out of it. And then you go on the coast, a little bit south of Lima, and then you go all the way down to like Paracas and Pisco, and they're growing the second largest, I believe it's the second largest growers of fruits and vegetables in the world. It's crazy to see like how much they're growing like table grapes and like all sorts of stuff. And so, but the weird thing is, once you're down there, you see this desert lunar landscape in a way, and so you're in these different environments. And so what happens is, Chef Pedro is pulling from all of them. He's got the Amazon rainforest to pull from. He's got this beautiful, he's got barks, and he's got these different types of fish and all sorts of stuff that they're pulling for. And when I had them on the plate for the first time, I sat down, and this was a small group of us, and we had done an interview already, and I hung out in his kitchen, and the care that he was taking with it, but the respect that comes from these unique ingredients is really translated on the plate by him. And I had this fish. I know this fish grows to 15 feet, up to 15 feet. And it's they're now farming it. So they have a renewable source of this. And you're seeing these people start to push this out to not just in Peru, but they're starting to be able to make it available outside. And it's really amazing. And then on top of that, some of these flavors, I haven't even had flavors like this. So you're putting it in your mouth and you're like, you can't really say it's like this or like that. It's just so unique. It's really strange. And that was probably one of the biggest things that I got when I walked away from that. And it was just unbelievable. I mean, even going back to the Incas and how they brought in farmers, and they really did the terrace farming, and you saw these people just really say, hey, we want to put some time into farming, and they pulled people from outside, some people from Chile and other areas around there, and like, hey, we pull the best people, and it became a melting pot of culture as well. And so you have some great builders and some great farmers, and so it really brought to life a lot of this by being there. And I mean, they have like, I don't know, I think it's 2,000 varieties of potato. I'm not exactly sure the number, but I know it's thousands of varieties of potato. And, it was really cool to see all of that. And, you get to try some unique stuff while you're out there. And it was a real interesting experience, something that I hadn't been able to do. But it's awesome to see that they're sharing with the rest of the world. It's really great.
That sounds like an incredible experience. I mean, that makes me totally want to go and visit Peru. I mean, I love traveling, so that's definitely going to be on my list, on places
Absolutely.
to travel. It sounds amazing. Of you talking about all the different flavors there and everything that you experienced, it's incredible. So definitely going to go.
So much
definitely
fun.
Want to go there.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Well, snap a food photo. We'll be right back. I'm Kid Chef Eliana, and you're listening to Cool Kids Cook. Welcome back to Cool Kids Cook. I'm Kid Chef Eliana. Let's continue our interview with Matthew Noel, food and beverage photographer. Now, let's find out more about you personally, Mr. Matthew. What's your favorite dish to cook, and what's your favorite dish to eat?
Oh, man, that's such a difficult question. And, you look at it and you're like, well, what's my favorite to cook? Well, stuff that's usually, I'm cooking all the time for food and beverage shots. I'm the creative director of Edible New Orleans magazine, and, we have these recipe days, and my editor, Stephanie Carter DeSalvo, who's awesome, and puts the whole magazine together. She's the one who runs it. But, it's fun to see, do that. But then when you get home, you kind of want something easy to cook. And when I get into something, and I was talking with my wife about this the other day, just you really want something that's fun, and it's got to inspire you, too. So I really love doing Korean barbecue wraps. I love some steak, and then like a little chimichurri sauce. And, every once in a while, if you get a great cheese in, I love a grilled cheese sandwich. That's where it's at. It's pretty good. I love that.
It's always good.
It's a lot of fun.
Sometimes the simple things are the best things.
Yeah. And for, my favorite one to eat, I can't say that there's my favorite one to eat, because I'm always looking for the next new thing. I want that new experience, and I want something that's going to be unique and kind of shock my taste buds and say, not necessarily in volume, but like say, oh, whoa, I didn't think of that in a new way. It's kind of a way of just rediscovering the world and changing your perspective on it. And that's, as a photographer and as a, person who just loves food, that's what we're always looking for, is that, seeing something in a different way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, I have a favorite food. It's tacos, and it'll always be that. But there's so many great foods, and there's always something new coming out, and there's just every time you turn around, there's like, oh, look, there's something new and amazing out, and then like cronuts, and then all of a sudden it's something different. So it's always cool to find out what's like the new thing that everyone's into.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, definitely, me too. And like you said, simple things. Sometimes after I come home from Culinary and we like cooked up a storm, I just want to go home, and I'm either so full I don't want to eat, or I just want to make something so simple, like I just want dinner to be ready.
Absolutely.
Now, can you share with our listeners your funniest or most disastrous food memory?
Oh, man. Well, I was doing a shoot one time, and it was for this big tourism board shoot, and we had pulled in, I don't know, it was probably $500-$600 worth of fresh fish, and we had them all, and we were just showing a lot of the different fish from the Gulf. I put it on this beautiful door, this old antique door, and then I had to climb up on this ladder, and I didn't realize how unsturdy this ladder was. But so I was like, okay, hey man, my photo assistant was there, and I was like, hey, can you hold on to this while I'm up there? And I'm leaning over, looking at this, and I start to feel the ladder go. And instead of falling onto all the food and the door and the fish and everything in front of the client, I kind of like went a little bit to the side, and my almost crushed my my photo assistant. So I was really glad he was there, but he saved my bacon that day.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that would have. Either way, It was
Yeah.
both pretty bad.
Yeah, but nobody got injured, so it was good.
Oh, well then it's all good, but next time get a sturdier ladder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want that, shot, you gotta get it somehow.
I'm always searching for that. It's brought me into an alligator pen, and I was videoing only a few feet away from 6-foot alligators, no duct tape around their mouth or anything, no tape around their mouth. And you just got to be careful and quick. And, it's put me in some spots hanging off Machu Picchu, and it's been a fun one. There's a lot of fun stuff that you kind of got to go a little extra for some of those photos.
Oh yeah, I bet. Now, let's talk about unusual foods. What's the most unusual food you've ever eaten? Is there food you would never eat again?
Well, I'll go ahead and pull from the Peru trip since it's so vivid in my mind. My friend that was with me who's working on the film, he decided that he wanted to order cuy. And it's kind of a traditional thing, and it's very common to do. But I didn't know that it would have such a strong I would have such a strong reaction to it. And so he ordered cuy, or that's what the Peruvians call it, because the noise the animal makes. Cuy, 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 cuy. So this is a guinea pig, but the way that they do this is, you can get it roasted, and they roast the whole thing, and it comes out on a plate. And so he gets this thing all the way out but the waiter. He drops it onto the table, and this thing is staring us in the face. It is so... Everybody whips out their camera and is like, whoa, but it's so weird to see, how close to the... it was probably wiggling around not too long before that. So that was a pretty interesting one. And at one time, we had it a little bit later on, and I think the restaurant tried to make it a little bit more politically correct, and they hollowed out a little tomato and put it on its head, so it looked like it had a little tomato helmet. I don't know how that works, but it was a little weird, but it was funny. And then one time I was in France, and I've had a lot of food. I've had a lot of odd foods, and like durian, which is common in Southeast Asia, and they say it's a stinky fruit, but I like it. I found it's very nice. I've had good durian and bad durian. I've had shark, I've had jellyfish and stingray. But the one thing that I had that was a little bit much for me and the rest of the people at the table, there was a French dinner. We had some beautiful food. It was a great night. And then they bring out intestine. And the intestine tasted exactly like intestine would. And it was nobody had a second bite. In fact, it came right out of somebody's mouth right after that. So intestine was where I kind of drew the line. And I was like, it's not my favorite. So, but I'd try about anything.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree. I tried, pretty much anything. I mean, I've had durian, and when I had it, I didn't really enjoy that. I mean, the smell was fine. I got past that, but I don't know. To me, it just tasted really gross. It tasted like cherry medicine and, I don't know, like gym socks or something.
Yeah, and I've had that experience, and it's really, when you look at the durian, there's a different kind of texture to the meat. And one of the textures is good, and the other texture wasn't, and I guess the ripeness as well. But one of them, my brother and I, when we were growing up in Singapore, we really dug it. And it was like, hey, we had a good version of it. And that's kind of like any food, and I really implore anybody listening to this, if you've had a time where you've had a food that you didn't really care for, go ahead and give it another shot, because in other areas it can be, it can be prepared different. It can be, something, that you're not expecting, and it could end up being your favorite food, Now, durian's not my favorite food, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly, totally. You can, might have it bad sometimes, but then another time you might like it. And, just because you don't like it once doesn't mean you won't like it again. And, it's like you can't say you don't like a food unless you tried it 26 times, and that's like when you can like actually say that you don't like it, because that's, you've had that so many times.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, one time is, you might have it one time, and it's not gonna hopefully won't ruin it like forever. Unless it's really bad, like intestine or something. Now, lastly, here's a wacky off-the-wall food question. If you could be any dessert in the world, what would you be and why?
All right. I would have to say, as a kid, I remember seeing a friend of mine pull this out. This was my fourth grade teacher, Miss Oquin, and she pulled this dessert out at one point, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever, and I liked it because of the pageantry of it in a way. It's kind of over the top. It's a lot of fun. Outside of like what I do here, I like to go and do some, odd things in a way. I like to play with yo-yos and juggle and a lot of other stuff too. And so those are the kind of things that influenced me outside of it. But this was something different. This was baked Alaska, and I think that it's unique. You have that frozen center where you've got the ice cream, but then you got the meringue over top and all. You can cut into it. It's kind of cool. It comes out of an oven. It was supposed to be frozen, and it's kind of different, and you can kind of make it what you want. So I love that.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Definitely, that's a good one. I liked baked Alaska. That's a good one. It's really delicious, and I like that one. That's a good choice.
It's a discovery thing. You don't know what's on the inside, kinda. To the people, I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah, and then just the combination of like the ice cream and the meringue, and it's just so good together. It's like the cold and the hot, and it's a good combination. I like that one.
Cool.
Awesome.
Awesome. What's your favorite?
Oh, me. Right now I'm into s'mores, so at this moment I'd say I want to be some s'mores. But I don't know. I might change that soon. Depends.
Excellent.
Just kind of what I'm in the mood for.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Matthew, for being a guest on Cool Kids Cook.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to see what you're doing in the future. And you never know, maybe I'll be able to photograph some of your food coming up. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, awesome. I'd love that. Well, thank you. You've shown us that food photography is more than just looking through a camera lens, and that traveling the world truly opens our eyes to finding flavors. If you want to find out more about food photographer Matthew Noel of Finding Flavors, visit KidChefEliana.com for all the links. Travel the world while we take a quick break. I'm Kid Chef Eliana, and you're listening to Cool Kids Cook. Welcome back. I'm Kid Chef Eliana, and it's Cool Kids Cook. It's time for a Tisket, a Tasket, what's inside my basket? Today's secret ingredient is jalapeno. Let's talk about jalapeno. The color of jalapenos can range from green to red. Jalapenos originated in Jalapa, Mexico, but they're not commercially cultivated there anymore. Now, jalapenos are mainly grown in Texas, New Mexico, and a few Mexican cities. Instead of eating jalapenos fresh, the Aztecs would actually dry and smoke them. The dry lines that form on them indicate their ripeness and hotness. And they were also the first peppers on a NASA space shuttle to travel into space. How cool is that? Space peppers. Here's a recipe for my sweet potato and jalapeno galettes. These galettes are really easy to make, but the flavors are so delicious with the contrasting sweet and spicy. Ingredients: 1 sweet potato peeled and grated, 1 large new potato grated, 1 fresh jalapeno seeded and minced, 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 egg beaten, 1 tablespoon of fresh oregano, 1/4 cup of onion minced, 1 large clove garlic grated, 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon. And 1/4 cup of olive oil. Directions: place grated potato on a plate and microwave for 3 minutes. In a large bowl, mix all ingredients. Form small patties. In a large nonstick pan over medium heat, heat olive oil. Fry galettes on both sides until golden brown. Mix 4 to 6 patties. You can find all of these recipes on my website, kidchefeliana.com. If you have a secret ingredient you'd like me to talk about, you can email me at eliana@kidchefeliana.com or call my U.S. toll-free number, 888-721-5915. Leave me your first name, where you're calling from, and your question. Maybe your suggestion will air on a future episode. It's time for Foodie News. I'll give you an update on new food trends, cool cooking info, and the occasional strange food story. Now I've got something for all the coffee lovers out there, and it's called Nitro Coffee. It's a specialty coffee that's smoother, creamier, and fizzier. Now, why is it like that? Well, that's because it's infused with nitrogen, hence the name Nitro Coffee. And Cuvée Coffee was the first to actually serve nitro coffee on tap in Austin in 2012. But now this company and many others are putting out nitro cans, which is nitro coffee in a can. So it's basically like opening a can of soda, but instead of soda inside, it's nitrogen-infused coffee. How cool is that? And many people actually just pour the coffee over ice, while others may even drink it straight up or mix in milk and sugar. Either way, this stuff is pretty awesome. Now on another coffee note, you can watch the trailer for a new documentary called Barista, which follows the country's top 5 baristas as they work their way through the National Barista Championship. In this competition, competitors are given 15 minutes to prepare 12 drinks. In the trailer, baristas explain the process of creating a drink and the intensity they feel entering the competition. But don't worry, it's not all seriousness. There's some humor in there too. Barista will open in select theaters and become available on iTunes and on demand November 6, 2015. Taco Bell is serving a new taco called the Naked Crispy Chicken Taco. It uses a breaded white meat chicken shell, and it's filled with lettuce, tomato, shredded cheese, and avocado ranch sauce. So far, the only known locations where these are sold are Lost Hills, California, and Bakersfield, California. And starting October 6th, McDonald's is officially serving breakfast all day nationally. And that's this week's Foodie News. Hey Kid Foodies, I'd love to hear from you. Tweet me. I'm at Kid Chef Eliana. Send me your questions and ideas and we'll connect. I'm also Eliana Cook's fan page on Facebook. On Instagram and Pinterest, I'm Kid Chef Eliana. So, you know where to find me. You're listening to Cool Kids Cook. This is Kid Chef Eliana, and it's time for the Cookbook Shelf. In this segment, I'll review the latest cookbooks and share it with you. Today's cookbook is Celebrate with Chocolate, Totally Over-the-Top Recipes, written by Marcel Desaulniers. Now, this is a great cookbook that basically celebrates chocolate, as, the title says. So it's got all kinds of crazy, awesome chocolate recipes. So, he really just takes you to the outer limits of the chocolate universe, and there's so many over-the-top combinations that are actually, surprisingly simple to make. So there's, she ain't heavy chocolate cake. It stacks 3 layers of extravagantly light cocoa saturated cake, and then it's coated with a smooth cocoa icing. And there's just so many great ones, like chocolate peanut butter and jelly sandwich cookies, and oh my gosh, it just sounds so good. And all the recipes just are, oh my gosh, dancing gingerbread men peppermint fudge cake, Dawn's chocolate cherry whirly swirly cookies. What a name, I love that. And there's even some really cool food photos in here that I didn't notice before. At first it looks like it's just all kind of black and white, just recipes, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, there's a pop of color and some food photos just, in the middle of this, and it's really cool. It's got, there's chocolate coconut rum pie, frozen chocolate oh honey so fluffy mousse bomb, chocolate in paradise toasted almond bark, red, white, and blueberry ice cream, chocolate grasshopper ice cream sandwich, caramel orange, chocolate orange masquerade ice cream terrine. Everything sounds so good. I really want some chocolate right now. I seriously want some chocolate. And now I just want to stuff my face with chocolate cake. But this is so delicious, and I love all the different recipes, and the photos just make it look even better. Alright, so you definitely have to check that one out. That's a great cookbook. Now, this past weekend, I went to the movies with my dad, and we were originally going to see Ant-Man, and we got to the movie theater. Then we saw that the time that we'd picked out that we wanted to see for Ant-Man was in 3D, and we didn't want to see it in 3D, so we ended up watching Mission Impossible, which is actually really good. I don't know what the name of it is, which Mission Impossible number movie it is, but it was a really good movie, so I really enjoyed that. So I just had a daddy-daughter day, and just went to the movies and chilled out. And then the next day, my Nana and Papa and my cousins, they decided to come and just say hi to me, stop by and say hello. And I was like, oh, that's cool, it's fine. You can come and say hi. So I thought they were just going to, stay for a little bit and, chat and have fun or whatever. And then all of a sudden they're like, my papa's like, all right, let's go. We're going somewhere. And I was like, oh, where are we going? He's like, it's a surprise. I was like, okay. So it was very all of a sudden spontaneous. And so he actually we all got in the car and we drove, he was just driving, and then we're like, we're going to Dairy Queen! And I don't, ever really eat, stuff, go there, places like that, but, if I do, I'm just going to get ice cream there. So, of course, I had to get a Blizzard, and I got cookie dough, because cookie dough is my favorite ice cream flavor. That and cotton candy. Those are my 2 favorite ice cream flavors. I love just eating cookie dough. I mean, why put cookie dough in the oven to make cookies when you can just eat it raw like that? But, I mean, who doesn't love some cookie dough? You always have to, sneak those couple bites from the cookie dough batter. But, I mean, in ice cream, it's even better. So, I just had some fun with my cousins and ate ice cream. Sat outside and my Nana had her dogs with her, so it was all fun. So I just got to hang out and catch up with them since they don't always since I don't always get to see my Nana and Papa all the time. So that was really great. And then just had a chill weekend and just got to relax, which is always great. Well, it's time for a coffee break. We'll be right back. I'm Kid Chef Eliana, and you're listening to Cool Kids Cook. Welcome back to Cool Kids Cook. I'm Kid Chef Eliana, and it's time for Figure Out This Food. I have a game on my Facebook page called Figure Out This Food. I post a close-up of a food item, and the first 3 guesses get a shout out here. Congratulations to Susan Fisher-Carrier, Rachel Moy, and Tracy Brown for guessing Creme Brulee. Let's talk about Creme Brulee. Creme Brulee is a custard with a delicious, crunchy sugar crust on top. The crust is made by blowtorching sugar that's layered on top of the custard. It's usually served in individual ramekins. Creme Brulee made its earliest known appearance in 1691 in a French cookbook. It was actually known as burnt cream in the early 18th century to the English. And National Creme Brulee Day is July 21st. I remember this one time where I accidentally burned the parchment paper when I was blowtorching the creme brulee crust, and that was not very fun. So make sure you don't do what I did and burn, catch the parchment paper on fire. It's okay. I didn't burn down the kitchen at Noka. It's okay. So, it was just like a little flame, so don't worry. It's Snacktivity time. Here I give you fun, easy breezy snack ideas. Today's Snacktivity is Sesame Snow Peas. These snow peas are a quick fix that are also pretty healthy. Ingredients: 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, 1 pound fresh snow peas, 1 clove garlic minced, half a teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, and toasted sesame seeds. Directions: in a wok, heat sesame oil. Stir-fry snow peas, garlic, ground ginger, and soy sauce. When peas are to desired tenderness, toss in toasted sesame seeds. Serves 4 to 6. Hey young chefs, this is Kid Chef Eliana, and it's time for Creative Cuisine. This is a recipe for my sweet and spicy pineapple pork skewers. I love the combination of the yummy pineapple and pork together. Ingredients: half a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 of a cup of chili sauce, 1 cup of pineapple juice, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 pound of pork tenderloin cubed into skewer sizes, and 1 can of pineapple chunks. Directions: mix brown sugar, chili sauce, pineapple juice, and soy sauce. Marinate pork in the mixture for 30 minutes. Place pork and pineapple on bamboo skewers. Soak skewers in water for 30 minutes prior. Grill skewers on all sides, being sure to turn skewers to cook on all sides. Serves 4. It's time for Kitchen Crafts. Here's a fun kitchen-related craft. Today's kitchen craft is how to make chalkboard garden sticks. Supplies: newspaper, paint stir sticks, chalkboard paint, paintbrush, and chalk or chalk pen. Instructions. Step 1. Place some newspaper on a table and lay out the stir sticks. Step 2. Paint the stir stick on one side with chalkboard paint. Let it dry. Step 3. Turn the stick over and repeat step 2. Step 4. Write the names of your plants with chalk and place it in your garden. The instructions, along with photos, are on my website for this week's episode on kidchefeliana.com. Don't forget to connect with me on Twitter and Facebook. I'm at kidchefeliana on Twitter and Eliana Cooks fan page on Facebook. Be sure to hit that like button. I like you, and I hope you like me too. If you're listening to the show on iTunes, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the show. The more reviews you get, the more young chefs you can reach. And remember, my Parent Choice Approved, award-winning cookbook, Cool Kids Cook Louisiana, and my newest cookbook, Cool Kids Cook Fresh and Fit, are available at any online book retailer. Now, at Nuka, like I said, we were busy for a whole week doing production, and then we went back to French food the next week. So during the week of production, we focused on making our pies for the pie of the month, but we also did some baking for a bake sale that we've been doing for the past 2 weeks at Nuka, and that was just really fun. So for our pie of the month for August, we did a white peach pie with a pecan streusel on top, and oh my gosh, the streusel on top was so good, and the filling was so delicious, and it was all yummy, and I just love that. So I got to actually do the pie. I was on the team that made the pie crust and rolled them out and crimped the edges and all that, and then after we did that, we baked them off and the pie crust, and then I helped fill it with the filling that another group made, and then I also helped put the streusel on top and all that. So that was really fun. So I got to do a little bit of everything, and they turned out really great. So I was really happy with that. And then for the bake sale, we did. It was actually a bake sale that the level 4s were handling, but we actually helped them out a little bit. So I helped make the brownies and the chocolate chip cookies, and oh my gosh, those brownies were so delicious. Oh my gosh, I'm just totally in love with those brownies. So they were so good. I could just eat those brownies 24/7. And then the next week we did the French recipes, and that was really fun. So we did French recipes 1 week, and then we skipped a week and then did French recipes again. And this week that we did was different, since the other week we researched recipes and as groups, and then created the recipes that we picked out. But with this one, our chef instructors actually gave us recipes to make. So the first day, we spent the whole class time watching Julia Child videos, and they were just different videos, and we had to take notes on the videos. So we watched how to make French onion soup, and then she did 4 different potato recipes in one of the videos, and then the other video she did 2 more potato recipes, and that was really great. And a lot of the potato recipes were in French, she pronounced them in French, and I had no idea how to spell them, so I just had to describe them for the title. I didn't know how to put a title if it was in French, but so basically we had to take notes on how she made them, so the amounts and the ingredients she put in there, and then the directions, and so we did that. And then the next day we came to class, and then we walked in, and they said, all right, get into groups or whatever you want to do and create the recipes you did yesterday based on your notes. And so we had to make sure that we took some pretty good notes, and we all did. So I was actually on the team that Maddie and I did the potato cake. So it was really thin slices, like a 1/16 of an inch of potatoes that were peeled. And then you had to place the potatoes in a cast iron skillet and like layer them. And like first you'd put a layer of butter on the bottom so it didn't stick, and also so it browned the bottom. And you layered the potatoes in a circle and like went inwards towards the middle, but in each layer you would go like the opposite way. So you'd make one layer all the way around, overlapping like the potatoes a little bit each time, and then you went the opposite way going in the layer, and it made like this really beautiful like rose kind of look, and I really loved that. So you just kept going, and then after you made a whole layer of like the whole entire pan was covered, then you'd put more butter and salt and pepper. You'd put another layer of potatoes that covered it, more butter, salt and pepper. So you just kept going. So yes, it was a lot of butter, but hey, I mean, it's French cuisine, and they called for a lot of butter. And it was a Julia Child recipe, and we watched her make it, and we knew it was going to be delicious. And I don't care if there's a lot of butter, and it's all in moderation, right? So that one was really great. And after you have all the layers on, you cover it and put it in the oven at 450 degrees for 20 minutes. Then you take the cover off and then leave it in for another 20 minutes. And then you flip it over onto a plate. And the bottom is nice and like golden brown and crispy. And it makes this beautiful cake. And I also forgot that you have to at one point you have to press it down, I think like 2 different times. And you press it down so like makes it really compact, which makes it stay as a cake so like it doesn't fall apart or anything. But when Julia Child did it, she flipped it over and it actually fell apart, and she was like, "That's okay, you just put the top right back on and no one will notice." She was just so funny, but I really loved her. And then that actually kind of happened to us. At first it was perfect, but then it slid sideways and it just collapsed, just like Julia Child's. But, you know, it's not always going to be perfect. But if we tried it again, I'm sure we could get it right. And then the other potato dishes were so great. I loved the different ones. One of them is like, I think it's called Potatoes for, like, one is the potato show. The other one is more about potatoes. And then the other one is French onion soup. So those were the 3 videos you watched, and I'm sure you can find those videos somewhere and watch them. They're really great, so I really recommend you watch those. And they all came out so delicious and awesome, and I was so full by the end of class. And I enjoyed all of the different recipes that we made. Plus, as partners, we made some crepes, and we got to make our own filling, one sweet and one savory. And then on the last day of France, we made croque monsieur and croque madame. And it's basically like a grilled ham and cheese sandwich, but there's like a certain like sauce that we have to make that's put in the middle that makes it not so traditional ham and cheese. And then it also, croque madame has a fried egg on top, and the croque monsieur does not. So that's kind of the only difference between them. But they were really, really delicious, and I loved eating all the different French food. Well, that's all for this week. I leave you with this quote from Dr. Seuss. "You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way." Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Kid Chef Eliana with Cool Kids Cook. Bon appetit. I'll see you next week.
Bye.